We're at Citizens_United. We're also on Facebook, Citizens United DC. So please be tweeting about this. We're hoping this will be a big film. I guess as we're waiting, I'll introduce two of our panelists. We have Brandon Michael Darby, and though once a prominent radical, his experiences have led him to have a deep love for his country and to have a passion for investigating and exposing groups and individuals who intend to harm the United States. So that's why he's an expert on Occupy Wall Street. He gained international recognition for his role as an undercover operative in the FBI's Informant Human Source Program, having directly participated in stopping violence against U.S. and Israel citizens. His public stance of being proud to have served with the FBI and his refusal to be silent and enter the Witness Protection Program has been a source of controversy and outrage amongst radical leftist groups, so they hate him over here. And you can see his Twitter is Brandon Darby, BRANDONDARBY. And then we also have Lee Stranahan, who's at Stranahan, STRANAHAN. He's a freelance writer, an award-winning photographer, independent digital filmmaker, graphic artist, and he's taught thousands of people around the world how to make money by making art through his personal consultations, seminars, and articles. He is a self-described writing, filmmaking, photographing, teaching, entrepreneurial, homeschooling father of 5, plus 2 twins due in March type dude. So thank you also for coming. All right, I guess I'll talk about our schedule a little bit. We have our schedules in the back. I wanted to highlight the Citizens United films. At 8 p.m. tonight, we're doing our showing of Generation Zero, and that is the economic crisis that Obama ignores and Occupy Wall Street exploits to the peril of the nation. Director Stephen Bannon is going to be here for a live introduction. You might know him from our other films, Far from the Heartland and Battle for America. He did The Undefeated with Sarah Palin. Tomorrow at 10 a.m., Governor Huckabee is going to be here to introduce our new film, The Gift of Life. That's a pro-life film, very inspirational. It's only about 60 minutes. This is the world premiere at CPAC. And following that, there'll be a pro-life panel called Advancing the Pro-Life Movement Through Media with Gift of Life cast members Carol Tobias, Charmaine Yost, Kristen Hawkins, and it'll be moderated by Lila Rose, who's also in the film. We have several other films that day, but we also wanted to highlight the Cold War double feature, starting with 9 Days That Changed the World at 3:45. That's about Pope John Paul's 1979 pilgrimage to Poland. And 6 p.m. we're showing Ronald Reagan, Rendezvous with Destiny. That's a very popular one, and that will be introduced live by Speaker Newt and his wife, Callista Gingrich. So those are some of our big showings. There are other films that are being shown by other great conservative filmmakers throughout the weekend. We hope you can check out our schedule and see what's going on. And again, Twitter, Citizens_United. And Facebook, Citizens United DC.
Oh, they're here.
Sorry, you started
no.
this thing with that main thing. Breitbart, good to see you. How are you? How are you? Thank you for having me. All right. Does anyone have like melon? I'm on an Atkins diet. It's okay.
Well, I was going to start with we are anonymous, but we're not. Thank you all for coming. Little cheap stunt there on our part. We stole our kids' Halloween costumes. My name is David Bossie. I'm president of Citizens United. I want to thank each and every one of you for coming today for our discussion of the Occupy movement and our upcoming film. I am honored to have Lee and Brandon here. Steve Bannon and Andrew Breitbart. I appreciate all of them for participating in the film. Steve and I have been making films together now for the last couple of years. Generation Zero was a tremendous film that we produced 2 years ago now. And Fire from the Heartland last year, as well as others. So we're really proud of this upcoming film. It really is going to go to the heart and the underbelly of the movement. And I think how we would like to start this, if that's okay, is we're going to show the trailer, and then we're happy to take questions and discuss it.
We're going to hit the house lights.
Yeah. Tian, could you drop the lights?
Here. Turn the lights
Thank you very
off
much.
and make it
Lights down.
here. Full volume.
Mic check! Mic check! My name is Dylan, and you should be very proud of what you have accomplished.
I agree with your goals, Occupy Wall Street.
God bless them for their spontaneity. It's young, it's spontaneous, and it's going to be effective.
I'm so impressed by what I'm seeing here.
Protesters are giving voice to a more broad-based frustration about how our financial system works.
Happening here is a real grassroots movement, unlike the Tea Party, which is a manufactured movement.
We call it AstroTurf. It's not really a grassroots movement.
The problem with the Tea Party movement, they're just sewer rats.
Is that they can't continue to be pulled to the right by the radical, unrealistic, unreasonable, I repeat, radical and unpopular faction, the Tea Party.
Hello, citizens of the world. We are anonymous.
I say take the FBI, the CIA, Homeland Security, go back to hell where you're fucking done.
Cameras caught evidence of drug use and paraphernalia.
Like you have hippies in the vault that actually take acid every day.
This woman who didn't want to be identified claims she was raped during one of the tests.
You're gonna get fucked up.
Why are you considering Jose? Why would you do that?
Safety has become a very big concern around here. They're starting to even assault one another.
I kind of like it that they're sort of militantly vague at this point.
We are finally telling you the true story of the radicals behind the Occupy movement.
Occupy San Francisco, occupy LA, occupy DC, now occupy Chicago.
Wow. I hate these bastards. I really hate these bastards. I spent 2.5 years on the road defending the Tea Party from the mainstream media and the left because a group of people decided to stand up and change the media narrative towards basic American values. And there was a coordinated effort to thwart the Tea Party. And it started with the government stating through Janet Napolitano that the Tea Party was going to be a potentially violent threat. And the media jumped on that report to start comparing the Tea Party to Timothy McVeigh and the Michigan militia and all that type of stuff. It never came to fruition. It never came to fruition, but the narrative still holds. We remember the report. We remember 2.5 years of the Tea Party being attacked mercilessly and held to an impossible standard. When we cleaned up after ourselves, it still wasn't good enough at our Tea Parties. So when the Tea Party persevered and was successful in 2010, what ended up happening is these people were like, well, we could go the Dick Morris triangulation route, or we can double down. And the Occupy movement is the doubling down of the radical left. There is, after the election cycle, the DLC, the former moderate ring of the Democratic Party, went, in essence, it went defunct. I think it went bankrupt. I don't know what happens to an institution like that, but there was a report right after the election, the exact moment you think that some reasonable Democrats would come forward and say, what the hell has happened to our party, you found out that all that was left was the hard left of the Democratic Party, and this is what they created. You saw a preview of it in Wisconsin. You saw a preview of it when you saw certain unions showing up at tea parties, throwing eggs, being violent, and the media ignoring it. But this is the granddaddy. This is the rose parade of the left's attempt to take on the rise of the American conservative movement and standing up for what it believes in. In 2011, the mainstream media was involved in the manufacturing of this event. You saw Dylan Radigan there. They helped to manufacture an intentionally vague movement that the young people that would join it, that would make it sexy, they intentionally made it vague so that people would ascribe to it and project onto it what they wanted to be to grow the movement. But then the people behind the scenes, the puppet masters, the Democratic Party, Barack Obama, are directly tied to this movement. And when immediately they manifested behaviors that the Tea Party was warned that they would exhibit, the mainstream media ignored it, and at the end of the year they called it, the Time magazine called Occupy, the story of the year. The reason why we're putting this group together is to tell what the true story is behind the story of the year. I want to talk about who's sitting to my right here and why they're so important to this. God bless the right-leaning media and the right-leaning conservative media that's trying to stand up to thugs like Dylan Radigan and thugs like Matt Taibbi, who helped coordinate before the allegedly grassroots Occupy movement started. I'm glad that there are people out there from a somewhat detached standpoint reporting on what they're seeing and videotaping the misbehavior, recording that there's not just multiple rapes at Zuccotti and other places and drug overdoses and robberies and murders and deaths. The mainstream media ignored it. Good for the new media and conservatives for going out there and reporting what the mainstream media intentionally is not showing you. But Brandon and Lee are two special human beings who bring to this project the type of grittiness that's necessary in order to really tell you what is behind this. And I'll first mention Lee Stranahan, who came to me about 1.5 years ago, writing for the Huffington Post, did videos for MoveOn.org and the Daily Cost. Hey. Cuddly, he's my friend. And he got basically thrown out of the club. Basically? Yeah, he got thrown out of the club for reporting stories that were being suppressed. You remember the John Edwards story? He was the guy on the left trying to blog at the Daily Cost. Something's wrong here, guys. I think that there's something to this Riel space woman, love affair. And he got kicked off of the Daily Cost for that. He also went out there and debunked that Sarah Palin was not the mother of Trig by doing good old-fashioned reporting. And when he contacted me, I was like, why are you an honest lefty? I didn't know that existed anymore. Did they not rinse you out during the soaking or whatever they do to? Yeah. And he said, I see that the media is trying to construct a false narrative on you, and I wanted to talk to you about some of the stuff as it relates to race and the charade thing and the N-word stuff. And I think that you may be telling the truth, but I wanted to interview. And I'm like, I thought this was deep infiltration, and that Eric Holder, trained him or something, and he's with the FBI. Where did this guy come from? Oh yeah, and that brings us But he's, over the last year, been one of our best journalists. And that's because he understands these people, and he goes down and he integrates with them, and he gets to know these people. These people relate to him. He knows their language. We conservatives don't know the language of the people at Zuccotti. We stick out like a sore thumb, and it is that type of investigative journalist that we need to be able to tell the true story, because ABC, CBS, NBC, CNN, MSNBC will not tell you the true story of what's going on.